Today, we're going to continue talking about efficiency, but we're going to change the subject to metabolic efficiency, metabolism, specifically as it pertains to cardio exercise or exercise in general for weight loss. I've made some statements about cardio not being that very efficient, all right, at burning calories over time. And I just wanted to share more of the reasons why I would, if I was wanting to lose weight, what my strategy would be. And kind of talking about that just based on some science. And the reason why I brought this up today is because I got this email from Rhonda Patrick, and it was talking about some of these things that I was discussing. I thought, oh, what great timing. I don't know if I can link to this because it was in an email, and her, so it's behind a subscriber, but it's also behind her paywall, I think, if you want to get her full podcast on this. But anyways, efficiency and metabolic efficiency. Now, going back to what we talked about yesterday from the article, Biomechanics of Elite Performers, Economy and Efficiency Movement, just some terms to talk about efficiency. It's talking about, we put a premium on maximizing effectiveness while minimizing metabolic cost. So effectiveness of doing an activity like walking, jogging, whatever, while minimizing metabolic costs. Our body wants to survive, and metabolic costs costs us survival. Calories are survival. So we want to become more efficient at any activity we do because of our survival mechanisms. We want to survive. So again, to kind of reiterate what we talked about yesterday, just the definition of efficiency. To be efficient simply means to take the shortest path, the cheapest means toward toward the attainment of desired goals. So I want to take the cheapest means for the goal. So if that's jogging for an hour, my body on day 1 is going to burn more calories than it will on day 100. Why? Because it wants to become more efficient automatically so that it can, again, get toward the attainment of desired goals with the cheapest path, the cheapest means, the shortest path. That's what our body wants. So it's going to get more efficient with movement. Even if you don't practice your technique or have a running coach or some sort of thing, your body's going to naturally adapt to whatever stimulus you put on it by getting more efficient. So when it comes to cardio, okay, like if I'm going to do those activities over time, I have to put in more intensity and more time to get the same benefits over time. And that's what this article talks about. It was promoting exercise for, well, not this article, the email from Rhonda Patrick was going over studies that looked at, it was a meta-analysis looking at exercise as it pertained to weight loss. And it said, the more exercise you do, the more weight loss you do. Yes, of course. I never said that it wasn't a bad I said it was a bad strategy, but I didn't say it didn't work. And the reason why I find that it's a bad strategy is because you have to spend so much time doing it and you don't get as much as you'd like to think outside, especially because these other factors, these metabolic factors, these efficiency factors. So if your goal is to try to burn off calories, you get more efficient at not burning calories over time because of those definitions that I just brought up. Your body wants to minimize these metabolic costs. It wants to do an activity with the shortest path, the least amount of effort overall. It just wants to get the job done. When we talk about dietary restrictions, that's going to, for me, come into play. And that's also something that will happen whether I don't do any cardio or not. I don't do an activity. If I keep my diet on point, then I'm going to lose weight no matter what. If I then add in strength training where I keep my muscle mass up, my metabolism will stay at the same rate. And so when I diet down, I'll actually, maybe if I get to my goal, I might have to increase my calories at some point. So because of these metabolic factors. But what I wanted to get to in Rhonda Patrick's argument was some of these things that I had talked about. And so it says why exercise causes less weight loss than expected. And it goes through, however, the weight loss achieved through exercise alone, even at higher doses, is often less than expected. Why? This discrepancy is due to several interrelated mechanisms, physiological mechanisms in the body, not my opinion, involving dietary intake, behavioral adaptations, and physiological compensation. So these mechanisms of, hey, your diet might play a role. In this, it says increased appetite. If I'm doing exercise, it frequently stimulates appetite, leading to increased food consumption that offsets a calorie deficit. So if you're not paying attention to your food, if you're just saying cardio, now, if you're doing the food and the cardio, more power to you. That's awesome. I would say Again, the strength training would be the most bang for your buck, the most time effective. It talks about 150 to 300 minutes of cardio activity. I don't want to do that. I work out for one time a week for 30 minutes. An effective strength training program can get you that muscle building that you want in a very short amount of time. Effective, okay? There's lots of different forms. Let's not get started on that. All right, I don't want to piss somebody else off today. But talking about these tools, if you're just doing the exercise side of things, right, you have to do so much, but maybe you don't even get the results because your appetite's increased. You're doing 300 minutes a week of exercise and you're still not getting results. You're putting out all this effort because your appetite's up and you're not paying attention to your calorie intake. So that I thought was interesting. And then it goes into reduced non-essential activity. People may unconsciously reduce their non-exercise physical activity. Just walking around, like parking far away, standing, fidgeting, all right? Those things might lower down as a way of conserving energy because your body doesn't want to burn calories, it wants to survive, after engaging in structured exercise. These reductions in other components of daily movement can significantly limit the overall increase in daily energy expenditure or the amount of calories that your body burns on a daily basis. But the last one was the one that I talked about and I didn't realize it was a hypothesis, so again, this isn't physiological fact, but it seems intuitive enough for me to be able to speak about it because, again, if you look at it from the component of, hey, the body wants to survive, it wants to preserve calories, this makes sense. But it's called the constrained energy expenditure hypothesis. According to the constrained total energy expenditure model, the body may adapt to sustained increases in physical activity by reducing energy spent on other processes, such as resting metabolic rate or non-essential activities. This plateau effect limits the total contribution of exercises to daily energy expenditure, particularly over long durations or higher doses of physical activity. This is what I was meaning. Over longer durations of this, okay, your body is going to compensate for that amount of calories burned by slowing other processes down in the body. According to this model, someone who has a baseline daily energy expenditure of 2,000 calories a day adds 200 calories worth of exercise daily, but still only expend 2,000 calories a day, not the 2,200 that would be expected. So even though they were doing this 200 extra calories, their body canceled out the 200 in their metabolic rate to 1,800. So the 200 with 1,800 goes right back to 2,000 again. So what I'm saying is because your body is so efficient and it's so trained on trying to survive, unless if you add more time, unless if you add more intensity, unless if you add, again, more, you're going to balance things out in your body. And your body's going to say, okay, she's trying to kill me. He's trying to kill me with this exercise thing. I'm going to lower some of these other metabolic processes down so that we don't have much of an energy deficit. So the strategy of cardio, although it works, it's difficult. And that's why I say I would, if I was going to lose weight, try to do a different strategy where I combine the diet, where I'm looking at my calories, maybe doing some other form of lowering insulin through lower carbohydrate diet if you have high insulin, or some form of fasting. There's lots of things out there that you can do, but looking at how many calories I take in, how much I consume, and making sure that that is in a deficit, and then adding strength training so that when I do lose weight, I don't just lose, I just lose the body fat and my body tries to preserve more muscle. You're still probably going to lose some muscle when you lose weight, especially at larger numbers, but you're going to preserve more because you have that survival demand. The demand on your body is saying, hey, keep me alive from these threats of, it doesn't know that it's just a barbell, right, that you're moving around, or a dumbbell or a kettlebell. Anything that you're moving around is threatening your survival, so the muscle tissue has to stay there so that you can fight off those threats. When you lose weight, your body's going to say, hey, save that muscle, so that when you do lose the weight, you look great. So that would be my strategy if I wanted to lose weight. These things work. The cardio stuff works, you do, but you have to put out more effort every single time. Not every single time, but over time, you're going to have to put out more effort. And maybe even with that effort, you might not get the results because of those physiological mechanisms that we're talking about. So that's what I mean by this metabolic efficiency. I hope that clears some of these things up. And what are your strategies? Are you doing cardio? Is it something that is sustainable for you? Can you do that in the long term? I look at sustainability and I take all of this stuff into consideration because I want it to be something that I don't just do for an 8-week, weight loss program. I want it to be something that lasts for life. So I try to implement those things. So that's more about your physiology. That's the efficiency of your metabolism. Hope that helped. Until next time, I'll see you then.